Hello and welcome to today's Money Matters webinar, which is on how to scale without cash flow chaos. So this webinar is intended for founders who are just at that stage experience growing pains. So first of all, congratulations on cracking the startup mode. You're now into scale up mode, and it's a different set of problems. So you're scaling, but struggling with cash flow. Business owners who want clarity, control, confidence in their business, and frankly, you're just tired of flying blind financially, getting hit by all sorts of, I don't know what, out of the blue. So I'm Della Hudson. As you might have guessed, I'm a chartered accountant and an experienced finance director. I'm also the founder of Minerva Accountants, and we are specialists in helping small businesses to scale sustainably. Personally, I'm passionate about turning financial chaos into calm, predictable growth, and I want you to have the business that you first dreamt of. But as well as all that finance stuff, I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm the founder of 5 businesses and so far successfully exited 2, so just running 3 at the moment. 2.5 to be honest, but you get the idea. The paradox of scaling is that your revenue is up, your turnover is up, but your cash flow is quite often down. And you perhaps don't have any idea why that's happening. And you're not alone in this, because growth increases complexity. You're dealing with more customers, you're dealing with more suppliers, and there are just more moving parts to keep an eye on. Your costs are higher as well, so everything is that bit more important, and there's generally more pressure to get things done because you're trying to run the stuff that already works and grow it at the same time. Not like when you're a startup, you're just trying to get anything done and anything was a benefit, but now you've got solid thing underneath you, or at least you're trying to make sure it's solid and grow on top. So you've got operational stuff and you've got business development stuff to look at. And with juggling so many bits, there's a huge risk of financial blind spots, especially if you're not an accountant yourself. Scaling often breaks cash flow. Most small businesses don't fail through lack of turnover, don't fail through lack of business know-how, don't fail because they've got a bad product, they fail through lack of cash flow. And if you don't understand your cash flow, you hire too early and run out of money, you hire too late and lose out on business, underservice existing customers, you can have inconsistent invoicing or slow payments. If you've got no cash flow forecasting, just margin erosion because you're giving money away or costs are increasing, and because you're making decisions on a gut feel, not on data. And gut feel counts for a lot. As an entrepreneur, I really get that. You've got all that subconscious knowledge, but once it starts to scale, you need to look for real data. These are normal things. They're predictable. It's going to happen in most businesses. And they're also solvable with the right systems. And that's what we're going to look at today. So we have 3 pillars for cash flow safe scaling. First, we want predictable cash flow. Then we want profitable pricing and margins. And the third thing we need, the third pillar, is smart systems and processes, because your brain can't hold it all. You need to be able to free up your mind to deal with what you're really good at. And you also need to have a system that allows other people to take some of that burden from you. So I'm going to look at pillar number 1 first, and I'm just going to grab tea. Because calm is what it's all about. So cash flow forecasting is important. It's so much better than just checking the bank balance, because the bank balance shows what's already happened. And we want to be looking forwards and making sure that you're financially healthy. So it's a bit like, the NHS. Instead of just treating you when you're ill, they try to get you to have the right habits that you don't get ill in the first place, or that if you do get ill, you're in a stronger position to cope with it. And we want to do exactly the same for your business. It's the closest you're going to get to a crystal ball is a cash flow forecast. It helps you to see the pinch points early. Once you've identified those, you've got time to do something about it. It also helps you to plan your hiring, your investment, and your growth generally if you know what's likely to happen. It's a lot easier to make your mistakes on paper, to find those pinch points, to then just do what needs to be doing. It reduces stress, reduces surprises, because they're not usually good surprises. So we want you to be calm in your business, or at least as calm as it's possible to be when you are working so many things at the same time. So we've got some simple forecasting habits that small businesses can adopt today, and that will serve you well throughout your business life cycle, but particularly now when they're so crucial. We want you to get through the scale up into that mature cash cow stage. So what do you need to do? Some simple forecasting habits. Well, we have weekly cash flow check-ins, just making sure that you're on top of your cash, that everything's there that should be, and looking what's going to go out. So we keep a rolling 12-week forecast, because frankly, I know you have to produce much longer term forecasts in order to get funding and so on. But for managing your business, it's very hard to see with any real confidence more than 12 weeks ahead. You can usually see about 3 months ahead. Obviously, the next week is easier to spot in detail than the next 12 weeks beyond that. But we're looking at 12 weeks just so we get early warning of things and we've got time to do things. We also want to track what's expected and then what actually happens, because life just does happen. So we need to make sure that your forecasting is getting better and better, that you're learning to anticipate these things. And we have cloud accounting tools just to automate some of this, because you can't do everything. There are only 24 hours a day, and you actually need to be doing useful stuff for your business and getting out there, growing it, finding customers, improving your products, your services, and everything like that. So we want all this financial stuff to tick over as easily as possible in the background without taking too much of your mental energy. We need to look at your pricing and margins and make sure you're actually profitable, because there are some real margin crashes out there. Without clarity over your margins, it's actually quite dangerous to scale, because you just could be, and I've had it before, I've had a client actually selling at a loss. So the more she sold, the bigger the loss she made. And it wasn't until we were able to look at this and identify why she was making these losses that we could help her to run her business more profitably. So how do these margin crashes come about? Well, there's a tendency to offer discounts in order to win work. Yep, you've probably done that. And then there's scope creep, where you end up doing more or providing more for the agreed price. So one is reducing the price, the other one is doing more than you've agreed. which is great to overservice people, but you are there to make a business, you're not a charity. And then, especially at the moment, cost of living, we have rising supplier costs. So you've set your margins based on certain costs, and then the costs increase and you need to adjust your margins and therefore your prices accordingly. And then there's just inefficient delivery processes, whether that's delivering physical goods or delivering services. So we need to look at that as well. So we have a quick margin check exercise that you can do here and now. Just 3 quick questions. Do you know your true cost per sale? All those extra bits you throw in, the overheads, the little bit of software that you forget to recharge. What's the true cost for your sales? Question 2, are your prices aligned with your growth plans? You need to pitch the right price in the right market. And question 3, do you know which products or services are actually profitable? Because you probably provide more than one, so let's look and see what's actually profitable. Can you answer those 3 questions now? If all 3 are yes, then great. Go ahead, get on with running your business. Just look at pillars 1 and 3 as well, but you've cracked pillar 2. And if any of those 3 aren't under control, then you need to make sure you've got that information, and not just the information at today's date, but look at it on a regular basis. And then we need systems in place that support scaling, that free up your mind, so it's all documented somewhere else, that get things done without taking your time or taking time from your team. So we want automated invoicing. This should just happen automatically. No finding that you've delivered goods or services and 6 months later you still haven't invoiced. I was talking to a heating engineer yesterday and he's actually pretty good, but he often forgets to invoice at the time, so it happens a week or a couple of weeks after the event. You need clear payment terms. This needs to be in your quotations, it needs to be in your contracts, it needs to be on every one of your invoices and things like that. You need strong credit control. Now, that can start just with getting the invoice out promptly, getting that first chasing in early. You know, if it's not paid by the due date, check they've actually got your invoice for a start. It could be something as simple as that. It might be you've forgotten to send it. It might be it's somehow gone into the wrong email box or something. But yeah, make sure that they've got your invoice to start. So it's not even a Rottweiler thing. It's just making sure it's done. It's that golden retriever that'll bring back that stick again and again and again. Just make sure it's done every single time. Get the Rottweiler in if that doesn't work. So strong credit control, starting with the early reminder. And yeah, if it's big project stage payments, big new customer, whatever, check beforehand that everything is okay. Everything is okay. And can I confirm when you're going to be paying us, even though it's not due yet? You have that nice conversation. Hey, it's customer service. Is everything okay? Oh, no, we haven't received this bit yet. Oh, okay, well, I'll look into it. So customer service call is the first part of your credit control on your bigger contracts, your new customers, and so on. Financial dashboards, so you can see what you're actually doing, and KPI tracking. We'll look at some of the KPIs. What sort of tech stack do you need? It very much depends on your business, of course, but I would start with cloud accounting. We are Xero certified. We're also QuickBooks certified, but we're predominantly Xero, and that does so much for us and for our clients, automating things. And then we can tag on some cash flow forecasting tools, Futurely, Fathom, Fluidly. I don't know why they all start with F, but it seems to be a delightful coincidence. And then we want payment automation as well. Get the payments in by direct debit where possible, by credit cards, whatever's appropriate. So recurring invoices and automatic collection saves so much time. And then we want dashboards and reporting tools just so you can check that that's happening and chase it up where it's not. Time for a story on those poor, poor clients. They were invoicing late, which means they got paid even later. They had no means of forecasting when money was coming in and when money was due to go out. They were in constant cash flow stress. And then Minerva accountants were able to intervene. We introduced forecasting. We looked at their margins and we helped them to implement automation as much as possible. The story has a happy ending. They had predictable cash flow, or as predictable as you can get without a crystal ball. I'd swear if accountants were acknowledged as such back in the Middle Ages, we'd have been burnt at the stake as witches for all the forward-looking that we do. You can be confident in hiring as you grow, in the same way that they were, and they were able to achieve sustainable growth, which is what we all want, isn't it? So I'd like to say they all lived happily ever after, but the story isn't over yet. So what should you have in your cash flow safe scaling toolkit? We have 5 things. We have that weekly cash flow rhythm that I talked about. We have margin health check templates. We have a scaling readiness checklist, and we have a KPI list for growing businesses, so you know which key performance indicators you should be tracking. And of course, we can recommend the tech stack to help you with all that. Because sometimes you just need strategic financial support to explain the tripping points. Oh, when growth feels overwhelming, decisions feel too big to make alone. Because you're trying to make big decisions without data, so cash flow surprises keep happening. Because growth is happening faster than your current systems can handle. You want to scale, but you don't know what's financially safe. And as a founder, you're probably spending more time firefighting than actually leading. These are all signs you need strategic financial support. Minerva accountants, you'll be pleased to hear, can help. We can do all the compliance stuff, but we also have virtual FD support services. We can help with forecasting, we can help with strategy, we can help you track your KPIs. As an experienced finance director, I can provide you with board level insights. We will be your financial calm, clarity, and confidence partner. But I don't expect you to leap into that straight away. So book your 20-minute Scale Without Chaos diagnostic call. We'll sort you out with some of those tools that I've talked about. We have some downloadable things that you can have to play with. We'll give you some personalized insights into your cash flow and scaling readiness. Your growth doesn't have to be chaotic. Minerva Accountants is here to help you scale with calm, confidence, and clarity. Get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. And even more, we would love to be able to help you on your journey scaling your business, because that's what you deserve.